Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Three Bands, and yes, it's that time. Finally, we're going to be talking about the Run DMC silhouettes created by Jacques Chassin. It's in the book From Soul to Soul, written by Jason Coles, about all the different silhouettes he's made. And this particular set right here is very special to me. So I've got some really neat stories to share with you. But first, I want to break away for just a minute. I know a lot of us know a lot about Run DMC, but some of us don't. So I just want to give you some highlights and also show you a couple pair of shoes while we're at it. I'll be right back.
Tonight, but do you want y'all to know one thing? I'm the king of rock.
Run DMC, right? So much to share about Run DMC. So many cool stories. But what I can tell you about Run DMC is this book is chock full of all kinds of real, true information from the horse's mouth. Now, Run DMC and their silhouettes are absolutely historic. If you want to wear something on your feet that's true hip-hop legendary status, it's going to be these silhouettes. Why do I say that? Because they were the first group signed by a shoe company to produce their own line of shoes. So this pair of shoes is the first group from hip-hop to actually be represented by a major brand. So if you're wearing a pair of these Run DMCs made in France on your feet, you're literally wearing a piece of history. And I love anything with a dope story like that. This is the book, and it starts off with the My Adidas LP and a classic shot of them. And then here on the next page, it gives the story of how he was able to get introduced to them, which was from Angelo Anastasia. I hope I pronounced that right. He was the one who was in the entertainment industry in Los Angeles. And he just had a knack for knowing all the superstars. He was, he had that it quality where he could just connect with everybody. So what he did, he went to a concert because he had heard a little bit about them. And of course, he liked the show. But when he went outside, they were all breakdancing. And from head to toe, they were in Adidas gear. And they were rocking their superstars without the shoestrings in them, which is just dope. And he knew, okay, there's something here, because other people around them were also wearing Adidas gear. So he made, an affiliation with them, became friends, and he kept them in Adidas gear. Well, there was this fabled concert, right, in Madison Square Garden where they played the song, My Adidas. Everybody held up their shoes, and he knew, okay, there's something here more than just everybody wearing shoes. It's going to be a part of the culture. So what he did was he left the concert and he got Horst Dassler. Horst Dassler was running Adidas in North America, and he's also running the factory in France, and he brought them to a show. And Horst knew a little bit about him, but after he saw the show, that was it. Signed, sealed, and delivered. Literally, $1 million endorsement deal, the first ever of its kind. Now, what was really neat about that is when Jacques was designing these shoes, he had some freedom to give finally the street culture a shoe designed for them, not necessarily for athletics. And we've talked about so many shoes up to this point that have been designed for a purpose. These particular shoes were just designed in spirit of a shoe representing a culture, representing a movement, representing independence. So he was able to create not only the Ultrastar, which I'll show pictures of all these, as you know. He was able to make the Eldorados, which are right here. The Cadillac line, right? Eldorado, he had the Broughams, and he had the Fleetwoods. And these are just beautiful, beautiful shoes. What's neat about it, if you take a look on the back, now this large trefoil is there because it's supposed to replicate a grill. The same way within the front where you see the trefoil on the front and see how big it is, and Carcentina, I think is what he called, because it's just huge out there. Looks really, really dope when you're wearing it. It was made so you could wear these shoes without shoestrings because they had elastic in it. So he made this shoe to where it pulled from the Forum, and it pulled from the Rivalry, and it pulled from the Conductor, and of course he gives that credit. But at the same time, he made a shoe that was, for not only Run DMC and represented their identity, but it also gave everyone else a shoe to go after and wear. I think that is just dope. Some other things that I thought was really, really cool in this story was about Run DMC in general was the fact, aside from being able to create these awesome shoes, was that as it stands, Run DMC, when they performed their hit Walk This Way, and that was, I believe, like July 4th, 1986 when it was released. That was on MTV, right? And I remember that. But at any rate, up until that point, hip hop, of course, it was a movement. It was a subculture. Of course, hip hop was hugely already popular. Run DMC gives credit to all those that came before them. But one thing is for sure, when Walk This Way came out, and by this way, Walk This Way was, Aerosmith was paid $8,000 to show up at the studio in New York and do the song with them. And you know, they were like, man, I hope this band doesn't, screw this up. But of course, we know they didn't. And when Run DMC has showed up and they made the song, they knew they had something magical and special. The video that they shot was shot on a shoestring budget of $67,000. But I tell you, and we all know, once that song came out, it made everyone, and it also made the mainstream okay to listen to hip hop because it fused rock, hard-hitting beats of hip hop, of course the lyrical style from Run DMC, and then Aerosmith. And what happened then was hip hop jumped across all the oceans and infected the rest of the world. And from that point on, now when we all have our Spotifys or our playlists going, anything or any rapper that is now out there, a part of that is owed to Run DMC. And that's a really special story. It's just groundbreaking, and it makes, for me, wearing these shoes and knowing the story a little bit more special. Going on to the shoes themselves, of course, this is the line I was talking about. This is from the Adidas archive. It's just really, really, really dope. I think it's neat that, all these shoes that are on here, there are even some shoes that aren't listed on here that are produced, of course, because these purple ones aren't on this list. But at any rate, that's just a little bit about it. I don't want to spend too long on it. I just wanted to share this super rich history. I want to thank Jacques again for designing another sick pair of shoes that he probably had no idea would mean this much to the world. But they did, and they do mean a lot to me anyway. As always, I say, collect what you love, and I gravitate to anything with the story. And of course, this is very special to my story. This is 3 Bands. Until next time, out.